Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to say good morning. First of all,
Good morning.
I have the honor of sitting down with you, shutting down your courtroom for today. Some kind of way God in the universe set it up for me to sit down with you.
It was a slow morning. We don't have docket till this afternoon, so we're still open to the public if they wanted to come in. But yes. We are in the courtroom and it is shut down.
Miss Toni Wallace.
Yes, ma'am.
First Black woman to be appointed in Fort Bend County.
That is correct.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yeah.
And you get to shut your courtroom down and sit with me today and the women of Houston.
It is my pleasure and honor to do that.
Thank you. I just want to jump right in it.
Okay.
As I followed you and got to know you, the first thing that stood out to me is your passion and your thing that you give back, and you said about women sticking together.
Oh, yeah.
And coming together.
Oh, yeah.
And still being just real to who you are.
Yeah.
But also helping your sister to climb up. Helping the next young girl. We got your interns in here. You always giving back.
Yeah.
They're, watching and taking notes. But to say the thing that we need most is to stick together, to rise up. And you know how hard that is as a woman.
Absolutely.
And I want to jump right into that because being a woman and being honored as a woman of Houston who's just doing dynamic things in the, down from your job don't just stop. And it starts with you say, home. I'm a wife first.
Correct.
Then I'm a mother.
Correct.
And then I go do the job that I love. To just say that you love to do this. But let's go back to coming together as a woman. What does being a woman of Houston means to you?
So when we talk about coming together and making sure that we support each other, I was given that example by my own mother. As early as her relationships with her sisters, they always supported one another. They were always encouraging one another. And so I grew up into that. And so I didn't really have a choice. It was really kind of bred in me. And I have a sister. My sister's older than me. And I can remember my mother being the angriest my mother ever got. And my mother doesn't get angry very often, but the angriest she ever got with us was when we were fighting with each other. And she would tell us, that's the only sister you're going to ever have, because she won't have any more kids. But that's the only sister you're going to ever have. And she's never going to not be your sister.
Wow.
And so we fussed and fought. We were 3 years apart. And it wasn't until she left to go off to college that I was like, oh, wait, I kind of miss her. And we are the best of friends to this day. I was on the phone with her 1:00 in the morning this morning, talking through life issues. But she is my best friend. And so that started, like you said, in the home.
Yes.
With the relationships that I saw that my mother having with her sisters, the relationship that I had with my sister. And then that just carried over into my friend groups. And when you believe that your sister is your backbone, and she's your rock, it takes a friend to be a friend, right? And so you end up creating these relationships with other women that are based on what you've seen, and you attract what you are. And so you're attracting like-minded women. And so I ended up joining a sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. And I had 13 sisters on my line. And when I tell you, I could pick up my phone right now and show you, we communicate and talk every day. Me and my line sisters every single day, talking about anything. It could be anything. We were talking about a movie. We were talking about one of my line sisters' grandmothers just died. So, and it's a constant communication, but those are the relationships that really build you up. Those sister friends who will drop everything and say, I got you. What time do you need me to be there? Where are you going to be? I'm going to meet you there.
Right.
What time do you need me to show up for you?
Right.
And then you do the same for her. So it carries over, it builds you up, and you start to recognize and realize that I am who I am because of the women who have been a part of my life. Wow. And then you encourage that in the generation behind you. I have a daughter. Unfortunately, I did not give her a sister. That was not my fault. But But she has cousins, my sister's
Yes,
daughters,
yes.
my nieces. They are very close.
Mhm.
They're a tight knit group. So you continue to pass that on, and you encourage that in the next generation, and
Right.
hope that they will continue to grow on that as well.
Right. But I know what you mean about I need my ride or die.
Oh yeah,
I need you to stick with me.
Yeah.
Because, when the kids it's so much on
It's
us.
so much.
As women
Yeah.
already, especially being a successful woman, and especially being a Black successful woman,
Mhm.
in this time. And it's already so much on us, but it takes that sisterhood.
Yep.
It takes that person that I can cry with and I can be naked with.
Yeah.
And then when I mean naked, not just taking my clothes off, but taking everything
Vulnerable.
off, even the lashes.
Yeah.
Because we know, like we say,
Right.
we don't even wear them half of the time because we're
Right.
crying.
Yeah.
When
you
I
have to
hear
have that
about-
vulnerability.
Yes. So to be able to be in, a room in a sorority of women that you still get to talk to, because we're hard on each other.
Yeah.
We're always thinking, I don't want her to get there before I get there. But we can get there a whole lot farther if you watching my back and I'm watching yours. If I'm sitting here, I know what's coming up behind you. I can say, hey, so I love that about you.
Thank you.
Because not only do you get to sit, here and be so powerful, you also get to be a sister.
Yeah.
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 That's
and that's
huge.
important.
Yeah.
It's
but
very important.
outside of that,
Yeah.
how becoming the first Black woman to be appointed, how hard was that? How did that make you, like, at that point?
It wasn't my plan. I should say that. And when people ask, how did you become a judge? I had no plans on actually becoming a judge. My degree is in journalism. I thought I was going to be the next Oprah. Oprah did not relinquish her throne. And so I said, okay, well, I guess I need to find something else to do. But I started off in television news. I was a producer. I was a news producer, and I loved doing that. But I didn't want to have to jump around from market to market. So I decided that I was going to go to law school. And actually, my father encouraged me to go to law school. And I was like, I don't know. But my boyfriend at the time was like, I think you make a good lawyer. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's follow what they say for some reason, right?
Well, I married him. So that was probably.
There you go.
He spoke that into existence. But I really enjoyed just being a trial lawyer. I enjoyed being in a courtroom. I like to talk. So it didn't bother me to be in front of a judge, in front of a jury. Right. And that was where my career path was headed. Yeah. And I got a phone call one day, and I was working in the Fort Bend County DA's office as a prosecutor. And they said, they're getting ready to open a new court in Fort Bend County, and your name is on the short list of people being considered. And I was like, where did that come from? But it came from years of preparation, divine intervention, and just me saying throughout my legal career, Lord, what do you have next for me? Give me the discernment to know where to stay and when it's time to go and when it's time to move on and what I need to be doing next. And so I prayed that throughout my law career, and it led me to the bench, because when it was time for them to vet me in terms of whether or not she would make a good judge, I had practiced in front of most of the judges in Fort Bend County, and they went and asked the judges in Fort Bend County, what's she like? What kind of lawyer is she? What does she do? What's her temperament? And that mattered. And I was making those impressions by just being who I was. Yeah. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't trying to tally up all of these, things that people would say for me one day she would make a good judge. I was just showing up and doing my job every day. I love the law. I love to be right in the law. And so I was showing up and just being a good attorney. And that's how I got on the bench, was just showing up, doing what I was supposed to do, and then praying that God would continue to guide me into what he had for me.
And that's the number one thing, prayer.
Oh,
You know, as we were speaking, you know, a little bit behind the scene,
yeah.
I have to say, and that was the first thing that we came up with, is that how this journey,
Yeah.
like even with me being in Houston,
Yeah.
I said, God, where is my village? Where are my women? Where are my sisters?
Yeah.
And the path took me
He'll take
right
you
here
to
with
him
you today.
if you ask.
You know,
Yeah.
if you ask. And in doing that, as we say, you never cut what you have the ability to untie.
I love that.
Because you never know when that circle is going to have to come back around.
Yeah.
And as you say, as big as Houston is,
Yeah.
you still going to run into somebody who know my cousin, my sister, somebody who knows somebody.
And the thing about it is when your name comes up in a room that you're not in, but somebody in that room can speak for you.
Yes.
And they can say good things about you and it be true, that's favor.
Yes.
So that's going to carry you a lot farther than anything else.
Yes. Pray first. Keep your attitude right.
That's right.
And don't cut everybody off. It's easier to not even deal with it sometimes.
Right. You just say, I'm not going to.
But when you know that I prayed for this and I've asked God to put me on the journey that I need to be on to make a difference, and it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about Him.
Yeah.
You get there every time. That is so powerful, you know, and I can relate to that. Like we say, spirit recognize spirit.
Right.
But even with doing all that, what do you do? Like, what would be your advice for the next up and coming young girl, young woman? Because, you know, you're being honored for the Empowerment Award with an empowerment, like being so strong. So how do you stay so strong in a world that constantly breaking us down?
It's a couple of things. I mean, definitely prayer, having a support group that encourages you in the right way. But I think a large part of it is knowing your worth. And that's the advice that I would give to young girls who are developing, who are creating their path. Know your worth, know your value, and be unapologetic in who you are, because the world doesn't need cookie cutter people, like the same kind of person all the way through. They need people who are going to challenge. They need people who are going to shake the trees. They need people who are going to show up and say, I know y'all always done it this way, but let's try it this way. I know this is the way it's usually done, but I have a new idea. And so when you have a young woman who knows that she has prepared herself correctly for her time, when her time comes, she can step into that boldly and with confidence. And when you can do that, nobody can stop you. There's nothing that they can say or do that will be able to squash that, because what God has for you is for you. He's prepared you for this moment. Now you just got to step into the shoes that He has for you and walk.
Yes. And I love that. And that's what I read that you also said. And I had to take that. I was taking notes. I wish I had my notebook right now, because you're just like an open book of knowledge, an open book of love. And, you know, your light just shines. When I walked in and you walked in, you was like, I need to go get my coffee. Are we ready? You know, I'm like, okay, beautiful. You know, you make my spirit leap, and that's what you need, and that's what you want to do in every room that you go to, as you even speak about also in your article. Make sure that your presence is known and you're there and felt. And my mom used to tell me that too. She was like, and she taught me to keep your mouth closed sometimes. You know, women ought to be seen and not heard. And it took me to get to this age that I am. I'm not gonna tell you that. I'm still looking for my husband. He might be 25 and I might be 45.
You never know.
No, but you know, she was like, it took me to this age now to understand when she said, you need to be seen and not heard. Let your light shine. I don't have to run my mouth about who I am when I'm on my journey. When I've already prayed for this, I can walk in that courtroom and become the first Black woman of Fort Bend County. I can become that. You know, anything that I need to be, if I walk in and just let my light shine and say my prayers first. I love that. Also, because I know I got to let you go at some point, but I want to sit here and talk to you all day.
We're good.
you know, you say that what would be your ideal job? Which I know you love this one. You like, I love to go to the courtroom. I'm wife first, mom second, and then I run to the job that I love, as you put it. Mm-hmm. But you also spoke on what would be your ideal job, if you could. What is that?
So I'm a journalist at heart, mm-hmm. And I'm still a news junkie, mm-hmm. And I love to write. So that would be, to find a place where I could be at peace, and not have the stresses of a normal kind of rug-rat kind of day, and just write, I think would be ideal. To write and to read all day long, and to do that without any encumbrance would be my ideal.
To travel and rate the places you travel, and write about it.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I would love to hear your version of how you would rate those too.
Well, I guess it would depend on the place. I'm a little hard sometimes on some of the places where we vacation, mm-hmm. but for the most part, I just like to enjoy my family and myself and just have a good time.
That's perfect. Well, I am so honored
that you are being
honored, and I am so honored to sit here with you today and just enjoy all of who you are. Now the world gets to see all of who you are.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you so much for being a woman of Houston who's just, giving back, empowering other women to become themselves, but also be real to themselves and take your sister along, that you'll get a whole lot farther. We think that we can get there on our own, but no. Let me hold my sister.
You gotta have a village. You gotta have your friends.
You gotta have your village. You gotta have somebody to hold hand. Mm-hmm. And I thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And we honor you.
Thank you.